It's the main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and of course you know him as 17-year NFL veteran, 3-time Super Bowl champion for your Dallas Cowboys, and folks, he's sitting here today for 17 years. Days like today would be his first preseason game of the season. Expected to play all the time. A little different nowadays, but Dale Hellestrae's here, everybody.
Good morning, Steven. You got a lot of energy for having a long drive yesterday.
I'm tired today,
and see nothing.
I got to see people. I got to see the good folks up there, man. I got a ALA Ironwoods coaching staff. Got to talk to them for a little bit. It's just good. Yeah, they're gonna be good this year in 3A.
I know the Gilbert Christian head coach.
I didn't get to see him at all. I don't know where they were hiding at. I also don't walk around into the gym and I don't walk around like I own the place. So I didn't get to see him very much. The ALA coach was just standing by me, and he's a good dude, from what I understand. So,
okay.
And everything, but they're going to be good this year in 3A. And obviously, you saw Mike Sheehan and the coaching staff there, and everything on SCA sides. Got there, weather delay when we pulled in. When we left the house, I was watching the weather because I'm like, I'm not driving if it's going to lightning and rain.
Right.
I'm not doing it. It was clear. There was nothing on the radar when I left the house. Boy, did that change quickly.
In an hour.
Yeah. Lightning. We got there and I was like, oh, there's a weather delay. People are just mulling around up here up on the concourse.
Right.
So I was like, so we get up there and guys all, weather delay. I'm like, all right, we'll hang out. I go, we'll give it 30 minutes, hang out, and then we're out of here.
Right.
I don't even think it took that long. When they walked down, they're like, done. Storm's still coming, so we're just going to call it.
Okay.
Like, all right, whatever. I mean, safety first, right? But it would have been nice for all of those teams to hit somebody else.
Yes.
And that's I was talking to one of the coaches on one of the teams. I'm not going to say which one, but they were like, man, we really wanted to see our kids hit somebody else. Because, Dale, there's kids right now that are in practice. They're probably looking really good.
Yeah.
You get to live action, and maybe they're not going to look as good. Maybe they're not going to like that as much.
You don't know. I always enjoyed those scrimmages because first time you hit somebody else.
Yep.
And usually we were playing a team that's bigger than us.
In ALA Ironwood.
Yeah.
I saw that some of those guys on 3A were, like I said, there's a big difference between 2A and 3A in size, folks.
Yes, there is.
It is a noticeable difference. So that's the thing. Then for SCA's case, you're stepping up to another level.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get hit like that in most of your games. Let's put it that way.
Right. And so I always look forward to it. I didn't really care, obviously, we won or lost. I want to see if our guys backed away from the physicality and things like that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I don't want to call them wusses or stuff like that, but
right.
It can be an eye-opener from those people that do practice well, but in the games that, the lights get bright, and, you see it in the pros all the time, right?
Yeah.
And in college and stuff like that. So that was the opportunity missed last night. For me personally, I was looking forward to, obviously seeing a new quarterback, because Mike said yesterday he was going to throw a lot. All right, let's see. We were talking with Mike after you left. I forgot. This is the quarterback that filled in with that 1 year with the suspensions in the playoffs when the other team started to fight and players left the bench.
Yep.
He filled in, and I like the way he threw the ball because I specifically told you and Mike, you got a kid that can throw the football in your future with this kid after that game he filled in at. And everything. So I was excited to see him kind of throw the ball around last night. Didn't get the opportunity, unfortunately. And so next time we see SCA, it's going to be against Pima.
Well, you hope so.
Well, it might be a Thursday, Friday. It might be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. You don't know.
It's just one of those things. Just seems like early in the season that there's always this uncertainty in the air of, are you going to really be able to play? And so now they have to go a whole nother week, and then the first time they'll hit somebody else is real game.
I was talking to a few of the coaching staff and just asking them their thoughts, with the kids, and, nothing bad. It's just, this is like I guess I've equated it yesterday. I think it might have been after you left. It might have been when you were here with Mike, with the head coach. I just said, I go, this season reminds me of 2 seasons ago when you're breaking in won your first championship with kind of like a veteran team that he quote unquote inherited, right?
Right.
For that first year. Then you basically were rebuilding, man. New linemen, that juniors, sophomores, linemen, new quarterback, and that season didn't go well at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, they were able to turn it on, improvements as the season went on, and that's what I'm fascinated to find out. Is there going to be more of that season? Because they got some hard games to start. Well, at least on paper, some hard games coming up. We'll see when talent gets out there and stuff, but. So it's going to be fun to watch, man. This is going to be an exciting beginning of the season for high school football for them as well and everything. So, yeah, drove an hour yesterday. Drove 2 hours yesterday to talk to some people.
It looked like you took all your frustrations out on some innocent bystander somewhere that didn't really bystand or whatever.
No, that's that dude that's that loudmouth dude that's always attacking them. And he's the guy that, after the, I never said that. I'm like, yes, you did. You said it repeatedly. And then he blocked me after I was like, all right, you're starting to personally. It was that dude. He claimed he was there last night. Adele, I'll just say this right now. Wasn't even an SEA coach. I had somebody else text me his tweet and was like, did you see him there? And I was like, no. We all know who he is. We all know what he looks like. We all know who he is.
Okay.
And everything. And and so it's like, he's pretending he was there. Maybe he was there and he just hid in a corner. Be hard for him to hide in a corner, if you know what I mean. But there's some doubt that he was there because he said he enjoyed talking to coaches. And I was like, it must be satire again. That guy just makes stuff up to try to be relevant. And it just cracks me up and everything. And I'm just going to have some fun this year because I don't like people like him around high school kids. They're dangerous. Let's just leave it at that.
And he covers
2A and 3A.
2A and 3, okay.
Yeah. That's what he talks about and stuff like that. I'll put it this way, Dale. He's one of the reasons why probably the AIA changed their credential process. If you know that process.
Yeah, well, I know that process because I had to go through that process. Background checks. Fingerprints.
I know. I was gonna do it this year because for Desert Ridge and then Queen Creek teams we go to and stuff, and obviously SEA I don't need a credential because as Dale knows, I get carte blanche when I'm up there with whatever. Last year I was the whatever. What am I thinking of? The headset fixer guy. Last year at one point.
Park with the coaches.
Yeah, I do. I talking advice there with Ty, the offensive coordinator last year at halftime. He walked up to me and, what do you think? And I was like, I would throw an out pattern. I would throw a ZQL pattern to the right. I was like, let me throw up college football 27. I'll let you know what I think in a minute.
Hey, Ethan. Really quick, go on the computer.
Go load up that PS. Yeah, go load up the game and tell me what Coach recommends on that. But that was my last night, Dale. Good time and everything. What'd you do last night with the rain? How'd you go with the weather? Hot and humid.
You know what? It wasn't too bad till probably the last 3 or 4 holes when the wind had died down and that humidity was moving in.
When we left here yesterday, we walked outside and it was like, whew.
Yeah.
Can't breathe out here. What the heck is this? It was different. And then, of course, big storm. You get a lot of rain last night?
We did. It was more cloudy, and it moved in. I think it rained more in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's what it did out at our place and everything.
And I kind of slept through that, but thank goodness.
Did your dog sleep through it?
I think Brooke was up a couple times with our dog.
Dale was grumpy with his dog keeps waking him up in the middle of the night.
I kind of have those new dad ears that where you don't hear the pitch of the baby's cry.
Close it down.
Yeah.
The lady's like, hey, the kid's crying, and you're like, no, I don't hear anything.
No, I'm gonna sleep through that.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about out there?
It'll be fine.
I know. I got Ireland. Ireland's got that back to school sickness right now. So the other day I noticed she was all stuffy, and I was like, "Are you stuffy?" She's like, "No, I'm fine. Why?" And I was like, "Nah, I hear some stuffiness in you." Yesterday she texted me at 11:30 and was like, "I'm not gonna survive. I can't breathe. This is ridiculous." So I went and got her from school. It was a half day, but I went and picked her up from school and everything. And when I got her medicine, and she was out. She took that medicine, was just out. But she went to school today. She has a couple tests. She's like, I got a Spanish test. I got to go today. I'm like, all right, go and survive. Don't go dying on us.
They've been in school for a couple of weeks.
Oh,
right?
like a month now.
Okay.
It's like they're like a month now.
Yeah.
It'll be a month next week. Yeah. So this is their third or fourth week. Yeah. So about time you come home with something, with all the other ickiness.
Yes.
Around there, being the same spaces and everything. So that's a deal with that a little bit last night as well and stuff. But Dale, tonight, watched yesterday during the day, watched that Diamondbacks game.
Yeah, your boys. They are definitely your boys.
5 and after their big homestand, now they're exactly 500 again. On this homestand. Off today, so the good news is can't lose today. No off day.
So they can only fall a half game behind.
Yeah.
Half game more behind.
Really quick, just still up the NL wildcard standings because I don't want to spend a ton of time on this with Luke coming today. Let's stay positive today.
Okay.
5-5 in their last 10. Third playoff spot tied with the Phillies because Phillies have lost their last 2 as well. Padres swept the Brewers. Like I said, Padres are going to be in this fight. You got 3 teams battling this out. Marlins are making a run, though, folks. They're only 1.5 games out right now. They've won 4 in a row themselves. The difference is I think the Marlins will play themselves into it and then go on a losing streak again and play them way out of it. I'm not worried about them being in this for the long term, but it is something to monitor out there and things to that effect. But the problem is this. Phillies were playing a team in the playoffs. Padres were playing the Brewers, a team in the playoffs. And you were playing the worst team in Major League, at least in the National League, I should say. You were playing that team, and you lost 2 out of 3 to the worst team in the National League. And the other guys, Phillies lost 2, but they were playing a competitive team, right, and everything. And you've got the Braves and the Braves and the Reds? Or is this the Brave and I know it's Braves. Or is it Braves and Phillies?
Braves and Reds.
Oh, so it is Braves and Reds coming up here. You got a hard schedule here, man, and this was your chance. Red Sox. It was Braves and Red Sox on a road trip coming up for 6 for the weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. The Reds and Cubs are at home here the following week. You can't go and lose 2 out of 3 to the worst team in the National League and expect to stay alive in this thing. It's just brutal. It's just brutal. And then you break records while you do it, Dale. They're the second team in Major League Baseball history to lose a 9-inning game when they had 11 hits and 10 walks in that game, and they failed to score 5 runs. And Torrey yesterday after the game was like, well, I just felt like we didn't attack properly. We were swinging at some pitchers' counts. You've been doing this all year. It's August 13th, Dale.
Well, you had the bases loaded there late in the game. You get 1 run walked in. You don't take advantage of that, and it just.
Well, that's the other side. The game wasn't as close as the final score will lead you to think it is. They mounted a small comeback in that game. It just this hitting thing is just frustrating. Kills you, just kills you when you're watching these games. Just absolutely just. Makes you want to throw your TV. I get why people crash their TVs when their football teams lose. Yeah. The Colorado Rockies, for the first time in 4 years, just won a series on the road against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that's not very good.
4 years. It's not that you lose games, because you're going to lose games. It's that you are now in the playoff chase. You from 2 weeks ago until the end of the season, you're fighting for a playoff spot.
Right.
Your opponents were playing competitive playoff teams, and you were not. And you can't win that series. How do you go from splitting the series against the Padres, who are a playoff competitive team, sweeping the Dodgers, or 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers? They should have swept the Dodgers, but 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, to losing a series against the worst team in National League? You just nullified all the good you did before by losing that series. It's frustrating. It's stupid. It's ridiculous.
Well, maybe maybe all they need to do is just play competitive teams. Steve, it was a letdown. I heard your boy.
Is that what they said?
It's an inevitable letdown.
You can't have a letdown against the Rockies. You just can't. You can't.
That's human nature, Steve.
Stupidity.
You go from
who said that? A radio host, or are we talking somebody on the team?
The president.
Derek Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah. The letdown.
Hey, all the energy over the week, the energy over the weekend, 45,000 people.
This is the problem.
On your feet.
This is the problem. You're making excuses for losing to the worst team in the National League. You're making excuses. Oh, it was a letdown. It's inevitable. That's an excuse. You know who doesn't have inevitable letdowns? Teams that want to make the playoffs.
Or teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, like Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado steps up. It would be one thing if you were in Colorado and the Rockies were just hitting home runs galore in that huge ballpark they're used to playing in there. So that'd be one thing. You lost at home to the worst team in the National League when your opponents you're competing against were playing teams in the playoffs. It's just infuriating to watch it. I don't get it. And then just to watch, I didn't see those comments because I probably would have crashed my car. But it's just the whole lean back and be like, oh, it happens. Now we got to move on. What?
Steve, the thing you're going to have to keep your eye on the whole time, and I don't even think you need to look at the score. I think you just look at one statistic. Runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's gotten brutal.
If they're 50%, they're going to have a chance because they're getting base runners. Not like they don't get base runners.
That's where it's frustrating. They had 11 hits, 10 walks yesterday.
Yeah.
Score 4 runs. Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to do that? It's so hard to do that only 2 teams now have done it, and Diamondbacks are one of them. It's almost impossible to do that, Dale. And they do it.
3 of 12 yesterday.
It was brutal watching that. Thank God it was on during the day, so most people couldn't watch it.
What are you going to do? I mean, you were jumping up and down on your chair and on the desk and all that when they traded for Newpar. What do you do with him?
First of all, I did not do that.
He of batting 120.
Yeah, you need Lawler. You need Lawler back. Lawler's hit 2 home runs back-to-back games now. You need Lawler back, and you need Gurriel back. That's what we need back. And I'm not even sold Gurriel's going to be spectacular when he comes back. I'm a little worried about him coming back because when he came back earlier this season, he struggled for a little bit, started to pick it up before he got hurt again. You need those 2 guys back. I want to see those 2 guys. I'm done with the Kepler, Nootbaar experience. It's brutal. You got to figure out this hitting thing. And I don't get why we have to continue to go through this stuff.
Well, you're waiting for those replacements, Steve. They're right around the corner.
That what we're waiting for?
Right around the corner.
We've been hearing that the whole time as well as on that. Good news, though, for the Diamondbacks. Let's get off that negativity. Good news for the Diamondbacks, man. This gentleman's, before he turned 26 years old, 100 Major League Baseball homers, 50 Major League Baseball triples before the age of 26. We're talking about Corbin Carroll, folks. Yesterday, he crossed that level. Do you know the amount, the quality of player he is with by doing that?
Well, I know one is Willie Mays.
No, that's a different stat. I'll get to that one in a second. Yeah, this one is guys. Maybe you've heard of him: Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Joe Medwick. I know of him, but I'm not. He's not the biggest name out there. But Joe DiMaggio's in that list. Vada Pinson's in that list. I have no idea who that is. But you're in the thing with Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio mainly, right? For that level at that point, right?
Well, and remember the thing about when those guys were playing, a lot of these ballparks were humongous.
Yeah, they didn't move fences in. And
humongous.
And they were eating hamburgers, hot dogs, and beer before the game and after the game and all that stuff. Like they didn't have the strength regimen you got today.
Right.
They weren't going out and lifting weights and getting stronger and working on their swing, right? The one you're talking about is the only player in Major League Baseball history to reach 50-plus triples. He's has 57 of them, 100 home runs, 100-plus stolen bases. He has 139 of those within 650 career games. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go up into the 700 career games level, that's where he's in the category with Willie Mays.
Okay.
He's with Willie Mays, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and all of these. How fast he's doing this stuff, and this is a 500 team.
They're not 500.
They're 5-5 in the last 10.
Out of the last 10, but Steve, what is their record?
Dale, they went Padres, Dodgers, Rockies.
Yep.
And they're 5-5.
Yeah, the best team in the league, and the Dodgers with a really good team.
And by the way, you won 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. You won 2 out of 4 against the Padres, and you still ended up 5-5. It's a joke.
64-58.
I didn't realize Derek Hall said it was just an inevitable letdown. Well, now we're just being too harsh on him, folks. Oh, we should just be fine with it. Diamondbacks are fine with it. Why aren't we fine with it with their nonsense yesterday? Just disgusting.
I also heard it was a little warm in there yesterday.
Is that what the humidity got to?
Yeah, yeah.
Mel Kelly didn't have a cramp, though, like he normally does.
Well, he didn't pitch long enough.
Robert says the Padres will separate from the Phillies and D-backs. I tend to agree with you on that, Robert. The Padres went in epic slumps with hitting this is the problem that I have. The Padres went into an epic slump where like Machado was batting like .02 at one point during this season. I mean, it was just, I'm exaggerating, but it was just absolutely terrible. Padres were sucking. Now they've woken up. How come the Padres could figure out how to start hitting when they go into a big slump and get snap out of it and start hitting? But we're August 13th and we're still dealing with the Diamondbacks not being able to hit and timely hits and everything. Why can one team be coached out of it and another team not? That's a legitimate question that you can have, folks. Why are the Padres bats waking up all of a sudden? And Diamondbacks aren't. There's the same old Diamondbacks. Why is it?
Well, now, come on. Just because they've woken up now, 2 weeks ago, you were wondering what's wrong with San Diego Padres.
You're absolutely right. But that's my point.
Yeah.
Where's the Diamondbacks wake up to where they go on a 5-game winning streak?
They were almost the first place in wild card,
They did not. The Diamondbacks have never gone on a 5-game winning streak. The Padres were one of the hottest teams in baseball when they played the Diamondbacks. Ended up winning 2 out of those 4 games, and then they get done with the Diamondbacks and they go on a hot streak again and won 5 in a row again. So Diamondbacks haven't done that,
so they can't beat the Padres. They can't beat the Diamondbacks.
Okay, but where's the how come the Padres can wake up hitting when they're in a slump, but the Diamondbacks still struggle with it? Why? It's infuriating. But I tend to agree with Robert. I think the last wild card spot's going to be between the Phillies and the Diamondbacks when it's all said and done. I do think you're going to be battling with those two teams are going to be battling back and forth. Neither one of these teams are going to go on a big run to pull themselves apart. And if they go up 2 games or something, they'll come back down to earth, and stuff like that. I think it's between these two teams. Now, can the Marlins? I told you, I think the Marlins will play themselves into it and then fall out of it again in big fashion. But I think you're playing against it, and you have the Phillies coming up on the schedule here as well, and everything. So it's going to be interesting. Ann says the number of singles with 2 outs drives me crazy. Robert says against 3 mediocre right-hand pitchers, no less, the D-backs do struggle mightily against right-handed pitching. Yeah, and it's just throw the ball high. Throw that, not the slider, throw that, the big movement ball. I forget the name of it now. Was that
Sweeper?
Sweeper. Throw that. And then throw high fastballs, and the Diamondbacks you'll get him out of the game, or they'll pop it up or something. He says Gurriel only struggled when he played.
Wow.
But is anybody tired of this Newt Bar and Kepler experiment? It's not working out, man. Which isn't a surprise because Newt Bar wasn't good this year when they traded for him. And Kepler was on a, 82 game suspension.
Well, at least if they make the playoffs and Kepler can't play, they're not going to miss him.
Robert says hope is not a tactic. I just feel like the Diamondbacks operate off of feelings and hope. Oh, we know we can do it. We hope we can do it. We can do this, right, guys? Instead of buckling down and fixing the errors. Again, compare the Padres to the Diamondbacks on how their hitting is gone this season. Sit down and do it, folks. I'll do it for you. Padres were in a huge slump. People be going into the trade deadline at one point, about 3 weeks, a month before that, people were like, Padres are going to be unloading some of this talent, like Machado and stuff, because they're not hitting. They're just not hitting. They're sucking out there. These are $30, $50 million players not hitting the baseball, and they can't. It's not sustainable. They're going to unload them, and then boom, wake up, start hitting the ball, and the Diamondbacks are like, oh well, we can be better. We will be. We'll get there. It's August 13th.
Hey, are you really? You said you're not going to spend much time on it.
And now I'm on a rant. Now I'm so annoyed.
Now you're on this whole thing. Wait till I'm gone
I'm so riled up right now. With
How about your Arizona Cardinals tonight, Steven? Is that more positive?
Well, right now it is. We'll see later on today. Let's get into that because Dale takes off early today to go over to do his KUPD hit over there and everything. So I did want to ask you, tonight, Cardinals, Raiders, 5 p.m. is when that happened. Really quick, before I'll talk more about other games coming up here, but throw up tonight's preseason schedule. Every team starts playing this weekend. Obviously, the Cardinals is their second preseason game as well. 5 p.m. I don't know what ESPN Unlimited is, but it's supposedly on that channel there. And, of course, locally as well, I believe on Channel 12 as well tonight coming up here. But you do see games there, right? Now, whose starters are playing? This is their first preseason game, so, very limited action type of stuff and things to that effect. And we'll talk Joey Burrow here with Cincinnati in a little bit after Dale leaves with Jaden Daniels' demand yesterday. Man, that kid needs to shut his mother up.
What on earth was that all about?
Yeah. Hey, Jaden, you weren't as good as Joey B was, pal. And Joey B's not doing it, so shut up and sit down. You should be worried about your commander's side of things.
If you retire everybody's number who thinks their number should be retired.
He ain't going in before his number 5's not being retired before number 9 is for the LSU. Joey Burrow was. If you weren't around for that, you missed out on possibly one of the greatest quarterbacking jobs that Joe Burrow did for the LSU Tigers that year.
Smoking a cigar.
Oh, that awesome. Just Joe Cool back there.
Yeah.
But I digress. I'll talk about that coming up. But Cardinals tonight, obviously a lot of football tonight, 3 games tomorrow, and then a lot of people on Saturday coming up here. But Cardinals tonight, you've talked about it before, what you want to see, especially with the starters. Play a series or 2 tonight type of a situation and everything. So remind everybody what you're looking for tonight in the star-studded event.
Just more of the same. I mean, obviously they put up a lot of points as a team last week, but what I want to see, I would hope the starters play 2 series. I'd love to see that get into a little
even
bit
if they go on a long drive in the first series and score.
No. If they go 10, 12 play drive, like Beck took them on last week.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Then get them out. But if it's 4 or 5 plays, let them play 10 to 12.
You want to see 10 or 12 plays is what you're getting. Okay.
Right.
I wanted to be clear on that.
And I want to see the smoothness again. I want to see Brissett now getting the plays from the sideline, calling the play. Everything looks smooth, no false starts, turnovers, all those things that we put those behind us. And then again, if you want to pick out a couple individual battles, if the right side's playing and any of the Raiders starters are playing, I mean, I kind of doubt it.
We don't know yet who's playing. I kind of doubt
we'll see Max Crosby out there, and
not in the first one,
and some of those guys, unless he's battling their quarterback on the sideline.
Yeah.
A fight breaks out in the Raiders sideline. Kirk Cousins and Max Crosby going at it.
Well, the matchup I'm looking forward to watching tonight is I think their rookie guy. He was so good last week. He was raking. Now again, secondary. I want to see what he can do against better talent out there. I'm talking about, of course, I just forgot his name.
I was going to say, what position?
The tackle. Chase Pasantis.
Oh, the guard.
I kept thinking Brissett as the quarterback. Yeah, the guard. I'm sorry. Yeah, not the tackle. I think he's your future in that right side guard position.
Very well.
I think he can win this job over Adams And maybe not to start the season, but he will get that job over Adams during this season if Adams gets injured or something to that effect. Man, I want to see that kid playing against first teamers, second teamers. I don't want to see him coming into the third quarter tonight and playing against those guys. This kid is special. I like the way he's playing. I liked what I saw in the Hall of Fame game. That's not a knock on Adams. I just think he's an improvement over Adams. Then you got Adams' legal stuff. You don't know how it's going to come of that.
Well, that's something right there.
Yeah, and so I think at some point this season you'll see that position switch. But now's the time to see it. I want to see him go up against those guys and stuff to that effect. That's the position. Watch the right side of the offensive line, because you could see some changes coming up there on the starter side and everything. So that's the one I'm excited to watch tonight. And then just see – I know it's a scale back offense, but I want to see kind of what they have Jacoby Brissett working with here with passing downfield. I want to see some passes downfield. I also want to see some runs and obviously some short passes to some running backs. I want to see a variation of the offense tonight. It's not going to be your final offense, but I just don't want to see a stale offense of hand the ball off, flare pattern to Trey McBride or whoever, and then they're off the field. Vary it up. Show some things out there.
I would love to see a couple passes targeted for Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, you got to see that.
I'd like to see him catch a couple balls and just absolutely have a non-noteworthy game.
Yeah, just two easy passes. He catches them.
Gain 10 yards, 12 yards, 8 yards, and then get off.
Exactly. And then build that momentum going forward. And not go out there and drop a pass.
Now, if he drops that first pass,
depends on the situation.
No, if it's like we've seen in some of the practices.
Here's his problem, and I'm going to be honest with you. Here's his problem. He can have a pass knocked down by the defender, and the defender makes it just an unbelievable play. Everybody's going to say Marvin Harrison can't catch those types of balls. So it needs to be like one of those. Nobody's on him, flare it to him, and catch right in the numbers so he can catch it casually and go on. Because you can't allow the defender to make a play because it will be interesting. Really quick, Dale, before you take off, I was looking at power rankings. I hate power rankings. I think they're stupid. They're just made up numbers. But we pay attention to it because it's the view of the national media of your local teams. This is fascinating. A lot of people are saying Cardinals have no chance against the Giants in New York early in the season. Right? People are saying the Commanders is going to be a tough game for the Cardinals when they play them. The Jets, they're not even favored against the Jets. They're 1-point underdogs at home against the Jets.
Still.
They have the Raiders on their schedule end of the season as well. NFL.com has the Cardinals at rank 26 in terms of power polls. Isn't that interesting?
Well, I must be thinking that Carson Beck's going to play a lot.
Actually, he starts off with, once you're done sipping the Carson Beck Kool-Aid, he goes, come take a seat with me and consider where the Cardinals are right now. Right? Veteran bridge quarterback. A lot of talent on this team, folks, at least on the offensive side as well. And then you got Trey McBride, then you add Love into that and stuff to that. And everybody's expecting Marvin Harrison to have an uptick this year, and we hope it's coming. But yeah, 26 for a team that everybody's saying is in the play for the number 1 draft pick. NFL. So that was surprising by itself. Then check this out. 27, New York Giants. 28, Cleveland Browns, who they don't play. 29th, Commanders. 30th, Jets. 31st, Raiders.
Those are 3 or 4 teams on their schedule.
Dale, I'm going to go out spending my over 3.5 money later on today. Here it comes, baby.
Hey, and a word to the wise, if you got $10 laying around, you might want to throw it on the Giants tonight. Or tomorrow, whenever they play.
I think they play tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, whenever they play, because you've already forgotten. What does John Harbaugh do?
Yeah, he wins in preseason.
Yes. Yeah, doesn't win the playoffs.
You know what the difference is, though? He had talent in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's got a lack of talent. People don't realize. I told you that New York. This actually surprises me because a lot of people are like, "Oh, that division." I'm like, man, I think the Eagles are going to win that division, but then I think it's going to be a jumbled mess afterwards. But they have the Giants and the Commanders. 27, Giants 27th, Commanders 29th in this power poll. Cowboys, by the way, are 11th, Dale.
Yeah, we'll talk about them as we're getting close to the season, but I think that the stars might be aligning.
For the Giants? In preseason or the Cardinals?
The stars might be aligning.
Are you talking about the Cowboys?
For your Dallas Cowboys, Steven.
Whatever. Dak will do something to screw it up. It depends on the offense. If they have a running game, Dak is really good with the running game. No,
it'll depend on the defense, just like the Cardinals.
I agree with that.
They got to stop some. I mean,
they need a pass rusher because they got rid of the good one and they have to refill that spot.
Yeah, they need a pass rush.
Dale, get out of here. For everybody else, I'll keep it rolling. I will talk this Jaden Daniels situation because LSU's learning.
Knucklehead.
Everybody's learning about the true Jaden Daniels here and his family and everything running the show. We'll talk about that. And like I said, the main thing for me that's insulting about this is acting like you're better than Joey Burrows, man.
If every player did a little something, I know he won the Heisman.
1 of 3.
Yeah.
1 of 3. But Joe Burrow, only 3 people at LSU have won a Heisman.
Oh, okay.
1 of 3. But what did Joe Burrow do that Jaden Daniels didn't do?
I think he won a national championship, didn't he?
And to act like you're insulted that somebody's wearing your number. Man, Commanders can't lose fast enough. Come on back, folks. Main event. And we're back here. Suns, by the way, NBA schedule will be out later on today. We've seen some snippets, right? Opening night. We've seen the Christmas Day schedules. We know the Suns have a few games during Dwayne Rankin. Of course, AZ Central's put out a couple like November games that they got as well. And, so we're seeing it leak out a little bit, but the full NBA schedule will be out later today for those of you that matter. And, a lot of talk lately about, the Ishbia's company and how it's tanked. It's really stepped up. We brought it to you guys a week ago. Now, of course, I do McCollum on business. I pay attention to business stuff. It's one of my passions out there. So we were on that last week when the stock tanked and he had to put money back into the company, or his company had to put into it. They suspended their dividend and everything. But now it's really getting play here from people around town, especially on the social media side of it. On paper, it's not going to affect the Suns at all in terms of spending and stuff like that initially. Now, over time, it could be a different story that happens there, but it is a true threat. Because if you don't know how it works, these guys use their owning of sports teams as write-offs for their other stuff. That makes them money. So it is interesting to see that narrative kind of coming out with a lot of question marks from people and stuff like that. They let Hightower, who they just signed as a free agent in February, they released him yesterday off of the roster. I was trying to dig into why. Is it money saving? Yeah, technically, but not a huge amount. So it's fascinating to see. But the NBA 2027 schedule is out today. We'll keep our eyes on that. The basketball schedule is nothing like how many back-to-backs do you have? How many long road trips on the East Coast? When do those happen? Type of stuff back to back. So are they home and homes? Are they on the road? On the road? Those types of stuff is what you look for the NBA schedule, of course, coming up. We know, I don't have it in front of me, but we know their opponents for the, NBA Cup games, if you care about that situation. You've got to look at that. But it is, NBA schedule out there. Really quick, as we said, Cardinals tonight, 5 p.m. from Las Vegas. It'll be interesting to see. I was looking this morning. I've heard some rumors about the Raiders and who they're going to play and how much and things to that stuff, but nothing definitive from anybody. We do know Cardinal starters are going to start one or two drives here tonight, and then turn it over to the backups here. Brissett, obviously, that does include him out there getting some live action tonight. But another game, I just want to see fluidness. Watch that right side of the line. I think there's a real competition between Adams and the rookie there. We just talked about that. It's going to be interesting to watch that and just see the offense play calling and how it does it stay open like it did last week a little bit, or are we just going to get conservative offense here in preseason? Last week was a refreshing sight without Petzing here running that stick in the mud offense that he ran the last couple of years as well. So we talked about the power rankings, a little bit of a surprise. 26 for the Cardinals, with some of the teams on their schedule behind them, at least in the initial power rankings here by NFL.com, is what we saw there as well. So football's back, baby. Ethan, if you have it, put up that schedule for tonight again, just for preseason tonight. 3 games tomorrow and then a bunch on Saturday. Obviously, and like I said, I went through and was just looking who's planning on playing. Like Indianapolis tonight, Richardson's going to get a lot of playing time tonight for the Colts. He's their third stringer. They're profiling him to hopefully trade him here before cuts happen. So you'll see a lot of him tonight. New England, we'll see what they do, stuff like that. Chargers, they don't play a lot of their starters in the preseason as well. We'll see going into it with their injuries that they're always concerned about there in LA, right? San Francisco has huge injury problems. You're not going to see anybody on that top level for them playing tonight. Most likely, as they just nurse it, they kind of baby them out there. Green Bay, Pittsburgh, right? You're going to see Jonathan Gannon's defense. If you want to tune into that at 4 o'clock, tonight, as Gannon is the defensive coordinator of Green Bay. Don't expect to see Aaron Rodgers, right? He said, McCarthy asked me to play every preseason game. Well, we'll see if that comes to fruition tonight in Pittsburgh as well. But there's your games tonight for you. Of course, the one we're interested in is our home team here in Phoenix, at least, the Arizona Cardinals, and we'll pay attention to what else happens out there as well. But I want to spend a little bit of in-depth here before Lou gets in here at 9 o'clock. I want to get a little bit in depth on this Jaden Daniels situation, if you haven't heard about this. Jaden Daniels, obviously Arizona State, transferred out late, said he was staying here, transferred out late, went to LSU, wins the Heisman Trophy, some good success there, wins the Heisman Trophy, and now, of course, Washington Commanders. If you missed the story, he didn't just come out and ask LSU to not use his number or give the number to somebody, anything to that effect. Didn't even ask about it. He sent a cease and desist letter to LSU about his number and everything. What? Again, I get it. You won the Heisman Trophy. Sources are saying that he's deeply troubled. He's very upset that they gave his number 5, to a cornerback, who, by the way, is a good cornerback for LSU as well. And so that's what Jaden Daniels is focused on going into training camp going on with the Commanders. He's that upset about it. Folks, make no mistake about it. It's coming from Jaden Daniels' team, which includes family members who worry themselves with stuff like this. And LSU, if they didn't know already, but LSU's learning the true Jaden Daniels. Selfish, only cares about himself. Focuses on these types of things, these me things out there and stuff like that. But again, I bring up my whole point here. First thing I thought of, Joe Burrow. Like, who at LSU was more important in the pantheon of players on that team, right? And Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels. First thing I thought, like how ballsy are you to be upset that your number's still being used, and they can't use his name, image, and likeness anymore at LSU because he's so mad about it. Yeah, DJ Pickett is the cornerback that got the number 5 as well. But he sent a cease and desist letter to LSU. Can't use his NIL and stuff to that. It's just unbelievable tone deafness by Jaden Daniels. And especially because there was a better quarterback there. Quarterback got him the national championship. Joe Burrow doesn't even have his stuff gone. I reached out to a couple huge LSU fans that I know yesterday when this story came out last night. And they were emphatic. Joey Burrow, J-Baby, means more to the LSU program than Jaden Daniels did. Now, you can argue, like RG3's out there saying every Heisman Trophy winner's number should be retired at the school that they win it at. I don't disagree with that, actually. You win a Heisman Trophy, you're putting your team on the map. You retire that number as that team, right? We win Heismans. There's the guys that won Heismans. I think that's a fantastic idea. But if you're not going to do it, then you're not going to do it. Jersey retirements are an honor. Now Jaden Daniels is demanding that it happens. Colossal mistake. You're losing that battle all the time, right? You don't demand that stuff. It happens to you. Then you're trying to, not only that, you're demanding it, you're strong-arming them. You can't use my NIL, my likeness, right? My name, image, and likeness. You can't put my stuff. You can't use my videos for my games. You can't use my picture to showcase LSU. What? Yeah. The bigger problem here is forget about the argument between Jaden Daniels and LSU. LSU, he's pitting himself against LSU fans. LSU will survive without showcasing Jaden Daniels because they had a better quarterback there in Joe Burrows. So they'll survive without showcasing Jaden Daniels. He could be forgotten as an LSU quarterback while they hype up other stars on that team. Think of all the stars. Now, not Heisman Trophy winners. I get that. I would actually argue Heisman Trophy winners aren't that special. It's kind of a joke award out there and stuff like that. But you're setting yourself up against the fan base as Jaden Daniels. You're basically telling your fan base, sorry, guys, you don't get me. You don't get to use me or talk about me or anything like that. Because I'm the great Jaden Daniels. When you put yourself up against another legend on the team, again, Joe Burrows, that's not a good look. Not a good look at all. You're gonna have people turn against you that were all out. I know LSU fans from that era that to this day, when they reach out to me and talk to me, first thing they say is, "Oh, wish you would have had Jaden Daniels there and kept him there, huh?" It's just constant needling, right, on that. Now you're going to put yourself in this gap between the fans and you guys and you, to where the fans are going to be like, yeah, you know, I don't get what the movement is and everything. He said he felt profoundly disrespected was the word. I was trying to find the wording. Profoundly disrespected is what he's saying he is because his number was given to somebody else. And the better quarterback, the guy that brought a championship to LSU, Nothing. Just, allowing this stuff to happen, quarterbacking in Cincinnati, trying to get better in Cincinnati. And you're right here in the middle of training camp, Jaden Daniels. That lawyer's not just sending that letter without approval. He's worried about that type of stuff. Really? And I'm just telling you, between those, he's picking a fight with a legend in Joe Burrow. I think majority of LSU fans will choose Joe Burrow over Jaden Daniels. You have a chance here to wash your history away at LSU and act like you weren't there. If that's what you want, Jaden Daniels, I'm sure they'll oblige you. But LSU fans, my favorite part about this is, and it's, and it's not a good thing, but it is kind of funny to sit back and watch LSU fans being shocked of what that Jaden Daniels is this way. This kind of cracked me up a little bit, Yeah. But if you're, forget about now you got the LSU angle we just talked about. You're right in the middle of training camp. You're coming off of a big injury, new offensive coordinator for the Commanders this year. Expectations are high for the Commanders, and it rides on your shoulders. And you're going into your first weekend of preseason games, at least the Commanders are, and this is the distraction you want out there on top of it. Guess what everybody's going to be asking the Commanders and Jaden Daniels when they meet and stuff like that. This is an important season coming up for Jaden Daniels with the Commanders, and this is how it's starting, a distraction over your number at LSU. I get it. You don't care about what people think about you? Cool, fine, whatever. You get that side. Why push people away, man? And, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people, defend Jaden Daniels and say, well, it's not Jaden, it's the people around him. I got news for you, folks. He hires them. He allows them to do it. Jaden Daniels, it is Jaden Daniels because though he wants that attitude there. If he didn't, they would all be blown out today and he'd be out apologizing going, that's not what I want. I'm done. I'm sorry. That's not what I want. I've replaced everybody that even thought this was what I wanted. It comes from him, folks. It's time to stop doing it. Stop defending the guy. He sent a cease and desist. It wasn't a public comment. Like he could have gone to the microphones at, at Commanders practice and been like, it's kind of insulting. They're using my number still. I did it. Why want a Heisman from them, and said it publicly. He had a lawyer send a cease and desist to them. Who does that? Who has done that ever? Jaden Daniels. The lore continues. And I agree with the take. It's people around him. I agree with that 1,000%. If you know his history here in Arizona, and who was running the show at practices and sitting on the benches at practice and stuff like that, then you know what we're talking about here and who it is and things to that effect. 1,000% out there. But it's just PR moves and baffling moves like this. Like these people that work for Jaden Daniels should be looking out for him. And they're not. They're complicating the things for him. They should be looking out for his interests. Jaden, now's not the time to have this argument. You're in the middle of training camp. Let's not talk about your number at LSU. Let's not talk about your NIL at LSU and stuff to that effect. And this is going to be interesting because LSU owns like the copyrights and stuff like that. I wonder what the breakdown is like on using old clips of his or an image of him around the facilities. Do they need, this is the questions I come up with, do they need Jaden Daniels' permission to showcase him as a player that was there and won the Heisman Trophy? That's an interesting question that kind of just comes up, right? That kind of just gets squashed over. It's something I got to figure out because I'm fascinated by that portion of it. Do they need his approval? Because he played there. I'm sure there's some leeway on if you make money off of it or something to that effect. I'm sure there's something to pay attention to, at least from that perspective. But Jaden Daniels, angry human being for no reason. And when you think you're better than everybody else, like I said, there's somebody there that was better than you, named Joe Burrow. and you're upset about stuff that the greats there at LSU aren't upset about. Looks cheesy, man. This would be like me going after David Letterman or somebody, Well, I did this. Yeah, but David Letterman did it better. I'm like, I don't care. Why pick those fights? What I'm getting at out there as well, folks. Hey, when we come back, second hour, we got Uncle Lou coming in here. Diamondbacks off today. We get a break from them and that disaster of a Colorado series. Cardinals tonight, though. Multiple NFL games. I showed you the schedule tonight, and some things happening around that side of it. We'll talk about that with Uncle Lou. But big news this weekend: UFC 330 coming up. Get into that as well. It's coming back. It's the main event.
Everybody has these dilemmas.
Lou just put me in my place, folks. Lou, do me a favor. Drop down that chair a little bit, if you would. Corey, move that mic a little bit closer for me. We'll get Lou all set up here. We were having fun during the break.
I feel
we did. Lou will get it. Lou will get it. Lou, last week we had such a great intro that I was able to put it out on social media today and everything. And now that'll be our intro for next week. When I do it, I put it out on social media.
We'll just cut to the outro.
Which,
at this rate, maybe sooner than later.
Exactly. What a Thursday it is out there with the weather. Of course, on Thursdays, Uncle Lou joins us. Gamblu.com is where you can find him. Of course, Gamblu on X as well. And if he's a contributor, numbered event this week. So I imagine Lou's going to be on several sites. He generally goes on a little bit more here during numbered events coming up here. But Lou, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. And that brings up a great point, because Steve week in and week out allows me the platform to come out here, tout the San Xavier mission, and then talk about sports, gaming, from really my perspective. Mm-hmm. We share perspectives, but he allows me to get mine out, much of which can be hopefully worthy of your consideration. Much of isn't. So you're just going to have to weed through it and see. But we're talking about NFL subjects and UFC subjects that are important. There's the web page there. That's how you can find out all about me, Gamblu.com. I mentioned the San Xavier mission. The bands on the top are where you find out the sports I work, what I do, how I do it. But that San Xavier Del Bach mission page is great because that is a mission in Arizona. It's the oldest in the country. It was built in the late 1600s. They're doing great work down there, and we're a big part of routing every bit of interest to them we can. I've included a link to their mission for your consideration. Surely Gamblu.com has taken that, as well as a young man going to school in the Dominican under our wings to try and give back to our community. And this San Xavier Del Bach mission is so indigenous to Arizona. I'm so fortunate Steve lets me show it up every week.
Absolutely. By the way, I did get confirmation. I saw somebody was by there. They did take down that front facade. It doesn't mean the work's done, but they took down the scaling and all that. You mentioned that a month or two ago.
It is done. I've substantiated.
Yeah. Okay,
it's done
yeah.
and clean and all white,
Yeah.
and they've been working on it.
They were
since
trying to
I
put
went
color back
college
into it.
there.
Yeah.
Because what happened is in the late 1800s and stuff, they didn't know how to fix stuff, and they tried, and they made it more complex for this time.
Well, then it was just adding the colors back. The colors went away over time and stuff, so they're added it back in. It looked really nice on the picture I saw. So next time I'm down there, I'm going to have to make a little trip down there and get updated photos of it. But no, that's the important part of it. No matter, I don't want to lecture anybody here, but in the economy we're in, the world we're in right now, find somebody that you can help out and support out there. And that's what Lou does. And it's a heck of a mission down there. They have schools and, help the community out down there and all of that. And it's great to see that aspect, especially, like I said, I don't want to knock out gamblers out there and handicappers, but a lot of them don't do it. It's all about their profits and what they can make.
Yeah,
so.
but
I'll say
my clients, I found that they have some money, and you'd be surprised at how many have gone directly to the link, which is just fabulous.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I like to push it.
When he has it, he has it. We trying to get them when they have it, and we're trying to help them get it.
Instead of giving it to the DraftKings, the DraftKings of the world, we try to give it to the people that need it and want it.
Well, wherever they use it to earn it, but hopefully it's through legal channels.
So it's always part of the fun. But Lou, of course, covers NFL. Obviously, that season's getting ready to start. Preseason technically is underway, even though it was last Thursday, but it starts tonight. Tomorrow and Saturday, there's games out there and everything. Well, I've been going through all the teams trying to figure out who's playing, who's not. Cardinals starters will be playing tonight, stuff like that. But just in this preseason, I've been asking you kind of just like season outlook on teams and the question marks around camps. And we've talked about the Niners and their injuries. We obviously have talked about the Cardinals.
I'm bullish on the Niners, though, overall. We've talked about the Cardinals. Really? I'm bullish on the Cardinals, too.
Ravens, at least a few weeks ago, you were down on them. You said under 11.5. Yes. You like that number early on. Coming up here, new coaching staff, among other issues up there. Let me ask you this, because I know power polls, I hate power polls, but I pay attention to them only because it gives like a national perspective of what people think. They're just made up numbers. I generally don't like them, but it tells us what the national.
I use them. I already have mine. They're called power rankings.
Yeah.
And my numbers go from either side of zero. So a zero team is a team that is like Indy.
Yep. So it's fascinating how it gets lost and I can't stand them. But NFL.com has the Cardinals ranked 20. Okay. Yeah, they ranked 26, the Cardinals. For a team that everybody is under consensus of. Like we talked about them last week. I've already taken them over 3.5 on the season. I did that a couple weeks ago. And when the number was still a plus, I believe it's moved to a negative now. But a lot of people were negative on the Cardinals, saying they're going to be vying for the number 1 draft pick, whatever. We got a number 26 ranked Cardinals on this power poll. So that at least tells me, and you talked about it last week as well, how there's nothing but up and things to that effect. Cardinals are Cardinals. Not that they're being watched.
Is what I said.
Well, exactly. I'll sum it up on my own, saying it's only place to go was up with them, right? But after them, right? We talk about this Harbaugh with the Giants. They're ranked 27th. Washington Commanders 29th on this power poll list and stuff to that coming into here. Even the Raiders with a new head coach there, Kubiak, who's highly touted, rookie quarterback who's not going to be the starter going into this season. It's going to be Kirk Cousins. But the Raiders 31st on this list as well. Then the Dolphins come in at 32nd. So just surprising, kind of shocked by a little bit on that, because I see a lot of people high on the Giants just because Harbaugh's there. And at least this power poll, and I've asked you about the Giants before. I just think they have a lack of talent, on that Giants team. It's going to take a year or two to build up that talent there to what he's worth.
Quarterback, they got this kid Scadaboo. They have the wide receiver coming back off
Neighbors.
an injury. They got a new coach. They have a great attitude. Have you been watching any of the camp?
I have
stuff. I mean, right now they're 0-0 and going for a championship. They believe they can contend in the East. That's what they believe. So you believe that's all a bunch of hogwash. But I don't think that you can get away with saying they don't have talent.
No, I mean,
when
but
they have
depth
that
of talent.
kind of offensive prowess.
Depth of talent. They have stars, but after that, when you start dwindling it down, what you need for injuries and things, I think we're a year or two out here from the Giants taking that next step up, at least in that division. But then that also shocks me a little bit about the Commanders. Obviously coming off of injuries, but 2 new coordinators for them going into this season as well. Jaden Daniels coming off of that injury. I just talked about the garbage situation where he's focusing on college. You kind of put me in my place there off air. I'll let you repeat that on here regarding that and distraction-wise and stuff like that. But a lot of people are, we're high on the Commanders to compete this year, and at least on this NFL.com, ranked 28th. And Stephon Diggs is there in Washington now. That's a late addition since you did all of your stuff there. Does a receiver change your opinion on a team at all, Lou, when they're added?
Well, you have to consider it. And he went where again?
He's with the Commanders.
With the Commanders,
Diggs,
yes. Which really, Terry McLaurin's the happiest guy about that. And it's interesting that Washington keeps addressing offense when it's their defense that really they need to address. But what I will say is that Diggs, while it's a plus for Washington, doesn't overcome the minus that Laramie Tunsil makes. Laramie Tunsil was the starting tackle for Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels and Washington's offense clogged up last year because of offensive line, so they got this Tunsil solidified at left tackle. He's gone now. Okay?
Torn tricep.
That's why you watch the preseason, and you don't bet the Washington Redskins to win their division because you liked them 2 months ago.
Commanders.
Commanders. What did I say? Redskins? I'm sorry.
We all do it, Lou. It's all right.
At the behest of some guys talking on the radio to fill air. So I'm just saying, we really need to be in a hurry to find out more than the average person does about the NFL. And the average person that bets on the NFL knows absolutely nothing about the NFL. And I realize also that at this point, I know nothing. That's why I'm going to use the preseason to try and equip myself so that I know more than nothing when the season starts.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the Steelers get underway tonight. Aaron Rodgers claims that McCarthy was like, I need you to start every preseason game. We'll see how that works tonight, if that actually happens or not there. But Steelers we get to see tonight in the preseason side of things. But I did see the Falcons are going to start Tua here in their first preseason game.
Who else they got to start?
That's what I was going to say. They had to bring guys up. But that tells you Tua's healthy enough to start now is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, he'll play a series or two.
Yeah,
we got to watch all that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the Falcons to me are just Cooper Rush. They signed because of the injuries. Michael Penix is still coming off that knee injury and things to that effect. They have them ranked 25 ahead of the Cardinals by 1 spot, the Falcons. But they're kind of like me, the Niners. Now, the Niners have a ton of talent with their injuries, but the Falcons have a bunch of injuries. That's just going to tip them over the edge.
I think if you took the Cardinals and put them in the NFC South, they'd be looking just like any one of them other teams in the NFC South. Mm-hmm. Consequently, if you took Atlanta, put it in the NFC West, they'd get bushwhamped. So let's not forget who and where each team plays. The perspective. I'm in a real hurry to watch and see what happens in Atlanta. The quarterback situation is unsettling. That said, the stability they get from the new coach is very positive. And so of the 32 teams that I may have strong opinions on, I'm not going to have strong opinions on each because I have time to kind of watch and see how the preseason evolves and then how the early season transpires.
Now, when you did your initial research, there were some quarterback unknowns out there. Like we've talked about Patrick Mahomes, it looks like he's going to be ready to start the season and things to that effect. But mainly like Minnesota Vikings, right? I thought at least Kyler Murray was going to win that job. Looks like he's won that job. They've announced it now and stuff like that. Does that change all your prep before the season? Or is it something where you assumed he was going to get it going into it? Or are you sitting there going and having to look at different numbers and stuff while you're looking forward?
No, to me, that whole NFC North looks like 3 teams and then Green Bay. just below.
Really?
All together. That's kind of what I feel and see based on different criteria for each. I'm the most afraid of Chicago because that coach is sharp. But their D, they got no D, and a kid they brought in to lead the defensive backfield hurt out. These are huge things that happen, and it just happened in a week of practice. So these are the things we got to watch because each one can affect how you feel about a team. If I'm looking to be bullish on somebody, though those bets go way, way later. Right now, I'm looking to try and get ahead of something that goes the wrong way. And by the wrong way, unfortunately, it's a Larry Tunsil tricep or, a Carolina linebacker knee. And it's just what is called the reality of the NFL. So I also, are there teams you want to speak of that you want me to spend in any time?
Dallas Cowboys, only because they're on my list to talk to you about, but before we left, Dale made the comment, there might be things brewing, in Dallas land coming up here with their defense improving this year, and they're obviously just signing a big signing as well. Your Dallas Cowboys is kind of, I was trying to just going over kind of the messages, but a lot of people have high hopes on the Cowboys this year. This NFL.com power ranking has them at 11 right now. I've seen people go as far as to say they'll compete with the Eagles to win that division coming up here as well. So just kind of a fresh look from you, Lou, on the Dallas Cowboys.
So I got them ranked as 3. So if Indy's 0, Dallas 3. That's pretty good number. My highest number outside of the Rams is Buffalo at 4.5. So that's just a 1.5 below Buffalo, etc. So I'm bullish on Dallas overall. Schottenheimer's in here for his second year. The offensive coordinator also second year. Defensive coordinator new, and they're going to need him to be Houdini or I don't know who the modern magician is, because last year Dallas's defense with the Cardinals was absolutely putrid. It was horrendous. It was embarrassing. And so a dynamic evolution in defense means that they're at 23rd this year or 24th in the NFL. And so this is a team, offensive line rank 18, not so bad. Fourth most difficult strength of schedule in the NFL. Well, we gotta look at that. And then the third game of the season, it says home against the Baltimore Ravens. Well, that ain't home. That's in Rio. So I don't care what you call it. They're traveling to Rio and then coming back. And then their bye is late. So Dallas has great offensive talent. We're going to have to see if they've improved their defense at all. And if they do, it isn't going to be a Houston Texan defense. I don't think. Now, funnier things have happened.
Yeah.
So I believe they're going to have to outscore opponents. So you fantasy nerds ought to jump all over every Dallas Cowboy that you can find. But they play the Rams on the road, the Seahawks on the road, Packers on the road, then that Ravens game in Brazil. And so there's a lot of difficult games ahead for this team. 1-5 versus playoff teams last year. Okay, we'll see. There's a lot for Dallas to do. I'm bullish on them because of the offense, but I'm not interested. I think their over-under season totals 8.5.
Yeah, it was 8.5 last time I looked.
Right. Anything right in the middle, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 when you're playing 16 games. I don't want those numbers when I bet. I want to go over low numbers and under high numbers, because the ones in the middle make me sweat and work all the way to December. I don't want that. I want to win these babies early and move on. I hate to be greedy, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas on paper at least improved their defense. Now, like you said, but the schedule for Dallas is what scares me. You just mentioned it.
Oh, it's brutal.
Seattle, Rams, both on the road. Now they get the Cardinals and I'm forgetting the other team all of a sudden.
Houston,
at home.
at Philly.
At Houston. Houston, which is my next team I want to ask you about. Houston's defense is lights out. That offense has been their problem going into. They're kind of the opposite problem as the Cowboys. Outlook on the Houston Texans this year.
Yeah, the Cowboys' offensive line isn't all that, though they've addressed it and it's improved, but it's the Houston offensive line ranked 31. And so that, yeah, they made a couple of moves and shuffles, and they think that's going to be okay. They got their wide receivers back. The critical year for the quarterback. If the offensive line doesn't improve, it's the 27th most expensive offensive line in the NFL. So by design, Houston has not spent money there on the most important facet of the game. That's what I track, offensive line and front seven. Now, Houston front seven's number 1 ranked. So they have a D'Amico Ryans, who's their head coach defense, which means they're smothering. And they're going to come back with a 0-0 record this year. And I think they're going to be a really dynamic team, but I can't be bullish on a team with that kind of especially when I look for Indy, depending on the health of the quarterback, which is this.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones you're talking about?
Daniel Jones. I mean, we're going an Achilles under a year. I ain't buying that. But anyway, we'll see how it starts, because Indy's a good team. Last year they started great. They just didn't. They got hurt, and we'll see what happens this year. But let's not forget Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a really, really good, solid team. Being quiet, nobody talking about them. That's a good team. And then you have Tennessee with a new coach, new attitude. That defense is going to be top 5 this year. Write it down in pen right now. They're going to play defense for this Salah. But we're going to have to see how the offense comes around. I think it could be some big play stuff. I don't see them contending for a Super Bowl or anything, but I see them as being very improved, and that's going to put pressure on Houston, which is the team that you were originally asking me about. Yeah. They play 4 sets of games where they're on the road back to back. Most teams have 2 sets of those. They got 4 sets of those. They have a week 8 bye, and other than that,
what are those road? I don't know if you have it in front of you. What are those road pairs apart? I mean, are they travel far?
Well, no, I checked travel.
Okay.
They never get. The NFL rarely gives you San Fran and then Miami.
That's what I was wondering. But if it's in division, those are short hops.
No, you got Indy and Dallas. That's geographically easy. Yeah. Jacksonville and New York, Indy and Baltimore, and then finally Philly and Green Bay. So they're making sure that it's not killer travel across time. They're not sending you to Brazil one week and then Seattle the next.
Right. Yeah, the Texans, it's just everybody's kind of hyping up at, that defense is going to be, they added David Montgomery, of course, but it's hard to run if your offensive line isn't creating holes and things of that effect.
I can't say I can't agree more. And so we're going to have to see. And then Mike Lombardi, who was with the VSiN network for many, many years and left to go be GM of North Carolina.
Yeah, well, he might be back soon to VSiN.
he would always say, hey, bad offensive lines don't travel. And you know what? The dudes have been in the NFL. So I buy into that. Yeah. And so we're going to have to watch Houston a little bit early. But I believe overall they've got a solid running game. We'll see about the quarterback. Their skill positions are great.
Yeah, they got Tank Dell back this year.
That defense is just going to be unconscious. So that's a fun division to watch.
Everybody's high on this next team I want to ask you about, because this one's been itching at me for a while, and I've been kind of watching it. Everybody's always high on them.
First of all, when you say everyone, the first thing I'm going to do is run. And,
exactly.
And that's why I don't listen much to my own network this time of year, because they tend to group and see things similarly. I don't want to know what I want to know what my study says. And that's how I'm going to.
It's just every year people are high on this team just because of the talent on their offensive side. Their defense has been terrible, and that's Cincinnati Bengals and everything. Right. It just everybody every year picks them as a team to compete, and then of course Joe Burrow gets hurt in preseason or early in the season, and then it just staggers after that. So you have the injury concerns with the Bengals here as well. Their defense. They started investing in it in this offseason. So I was just curious, with the Bengals, because like I said, every year it's like the same story with them. So your thoughts going into the Bengals this year?
Well, my notes have an under with an underline. But Zach Taylor, head coach, we'll see. Mostly my issue with them is their offensive line ranking at 28, despite the fact that they spent some money on the offensive line this offseason. So they have the third easiest schedule in the NFL because they were so poopy last year. They earned a great schedule, and they have a -4 rest disadvantage, which actually hurts them. That's the 7th worst, and you want positive rest advantage over the course of your schedule, not negative. Be that as it may, it is what it is. Now, also with the Bengals, there's a game on November 8th that is at Cincinnati. Oh, no, it isn't. That's at Madrid, Spain. Okay, so you can call that a home game, but it isn't. That means they're playing 7 and 9 on the road. So that makes it tougher despite the fact that they got a nice, easy schedule. And then they come back off of Madrid without any rest to play the Steelers at home. So the offensive line is really, it's almost the same thing as Houston when I look on the offense, except for Houston's defense is smothering, and Cincinnati's defense is like Dallas. They have to improve, just try and get to 22. If they can do that, this offense will outscore you because unlike Houston, you got Burrow, these receivers, but Burrow's going to get hurt again, not because he's fragile, because he's got me blocking for him. You got to get some horses up there, for crying out loud. That's why I track this stuff. Offensive line rank 28, front 7, 26. That means you got a bunch of tiptoers on your team, bro. A bunch of guys they're good for touch or flag, but we're playing tackle football here. Give me some horses. So I am not bullish on Cincy. Okay. I'm not bullish on Baltimore. You've heard me say that. Who's good? I think all 4 of those teams are all. That's another one like NFC North. 3 teams, but way down is Cleveland instead of just a little bit for the Packers.
Pittsburgh, you're putting in that same type of a category.
I think
with
those
them?
3 look all the same this year. Just Cincinnati's look is no D, and if they can keep Burrow alive, and the other 2 teams will have a better D.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to watch that whole division as well. It is interesting. You brought up the in your conversation there, you did bring up how nobody's talking about the Jaguars. On this NFL poll, I just looked it up, NFL.com Power Poll, Jacksonville Jaguars 7th in the NFL they have ranked this year. And it's quiet for them, right? Nobody's looking at them this year. Nobody's talking about them going into this season. Liam Cohen did a great job last year with this team, and they're expecting improvements from it, at least on this power poll, but it is quiet for them. And that's when I think teams are the most dangerous, is when it's quiet going into the season for them out there. So we'll keep talking to Lou as the preseason goes on here, as we lead up to the main deal. I'm going to test your theory, though, on when everybody is one way, if you go with them. Who's the best team in the NFL in your eye? Is it the Rams, like everybody says it is?
At least power rankings at this point on the based on the numbers, I have to.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I had a feeling you were going to say, I'm just going to give you a hard time of what's wrong with going against that. But I mean, I agree. You look at the Rams on paper, and it's just, you almost say, who's going to, obviously you're being facetious, but you go, who's going to beat these guys?
Well, I check my numbers against a bookmaker. I have a bookmaker friend in Vegas that gives me that he uses for his shop, and I give him mine, and it always always develops into a very interesting conversation, because I'm saying, I think you missed this and I think you missed that, and he wants to hear that. Whether he changes his or not, I don't know. And I also want to know what his perspective is, because there were a few that I may have missed too, and it helps me shape myself now, because I still have 3 weeks of watching this stuff to further manipulate this and get it ready for week 1. But the basis, the foundation of my NFL handicapping comes down to my power rankings. And then when I set up each week, I work a week ahead in the NFL, because the bookmakers put out a look-ahead line each Tuesday. In week 2, that Tuesday, I'll get week 3 numbers. Well, I'll already have those written and recorded, and I'll then take theirs and record them and see where we differ and develop thought.
Yep, and we'll pay attention to the preseason games, and like I said, we don't hope for any injuries or anything like that, but it's something that you need to pay attention to Like Larry Tunzel injury is huge for the Commanders.
Yeah, guys, teams that lose a
Yeah.
center, Detroit, lose their center for 3 months. That changes. And I would say a center is a starting center is maybe the only position worth as much as a starting quarterback. Less, but then it'd be quarterback, center, and then a bunch of others.
I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but I was reading an article the other day. It used to be if you were a home team, they gave you 3 points, right? Because you were the home
That was the old
team.
traditional when I was a kid.
And now I was reading the other day that favoritism like that stuff, it only is about 1.5 points is what they factor in.
You can't. I don't. Then there's another column here that I have home team, and so for instance, early in the season, Miami and Jacksonville are going to have a little higher home team advantage. Why? Because of the heat. So they could be 1. Okay, because normally you go into Miami in November, you love it because they're terrible and the weather's great. So Denver year round because of altitude, they're going to get about a 2.2, and others, LA Chargers, they get 0 because most of the people go to those games somebody else, and the Rams barely get more than that. So I do that individually because that also factors into my number, and it's factoring in to the man's number. So I need to compare him.
Yeah, and that was what was
Apple to
fascinating.
apple.
And I got down that rabbit hole because I don't know what it is now, but I know at one time the Jets were 1-point favorites over the Cardinals later in the season here in Phoenix. And I was like, man, what's the play on the home team advantage there and everything? That's why I started delving down that rabbit hole, and then I found that article that it's 1.5 points now, and things to that
Jets
effect.
are 1.5?
The Jets were 1-point favorites over
And
the
now
Cardinals.
they're 1.5.
And then that's why I was like, man, if there's a 3-point home advantage, that's a huge number for the Jets in that game. And that's why I started delving into that, the number that the Sportsbooks generally is now is 1.5 for home teams. But that's a 2.5 point swing if the Jets are favorites at home against the Cardinals.
Is that what the number is
later
right
on
now?
I don't know what it is now. Let me look it up. I know that's what it was originally.
Because I'll
Earlier.
tell you, well, he's looking for
Yeah.
if I'm handicapping that game right now and it's at Arizona's home, it's a dead pick'em. And so if the Jets are given any points at all, and that's game 1 or that's a preseason game?
No, that's actually later in the season. It's like week 13 or something like that.
Oh, so that would be a look ahead.
It's a way later in the game in the season. Yeah, it's after their bye week. And their bye week's like in 12.
That's actually a game that on their schedule, I project the Cardinals to have a great chance of winning.
Yeah. Well, you would. I would agree with you on that. The bookmakers, though, and I also am skeptical.
So that
Lou.
if that's in.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's later in the. I'm trying to look, but I'm also skeptical because I have a theory. I don't know if it's true to it that East Coast teams get a little bit more of a play because they want that East Coast gambling money. They want that money into the thing early, so they'll play it. So they're favoring the Jets +1. So New Yorkers will be putting money on that game.
Yeah, but
I have that theory that happens out there. I don't know if it's
the
true or
number
not.
balances out because if the California DraftKings has 1 and the New York DraftKings has 2, they're going to get hurt because people are going to. It doesn't really work that.
Doesn't work out that way. It's just my paranoid self talking.
No, but you'll see a bunch of bookmakers in the East Coast have a certain number on a Philly or Giant game.
Mm-hmm.
Where the West Coast may have a half a point difference, and that's because of the amount of money they're betting on it up there.
Okay, yeah, because it's kind of I have the same thing with college sports, where it's like, all right,
Regional stuff.
Notre Dame gets a higher number on his thing because they want that Notre Dame money to go in on
you
it.
pay a tax, and they know it's coming on Notre Dame.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when they'd normally be 6, now it's 7 because they know it's coming.
Okay.
They know that you're betting anyway because you're betting with your heart.
So
you're
explaining
team.
it the way I want to explain it. I just don't have the wording for it. Yeah, you're
That's
explaining
right.
it that way. So I have a theory that that's what happened with the Jets number was like, all right, they're playing for that tax for that New York number there for
That's a
those guys to
dangerous
jump
game.
on it and stuff like that. It's just a theory. It's just an uneducated theory of mine.
A bookmaker does too much of that. He's an ex-bookmaker.
He ain't going to be in there very
I'm just
long as
saying.
well. All right. When we come back, we'll talk UFC. Last weekend, you had a fight card, and then this weekend, UFC 330. We'll get into it. Come on back with Uncle Lou, the main events. And we're back here with Uncle Lou. Don't forget, live on YouTube every Thursday at 9 o'clock is when Lou comes in as well. So come and join us out there and see if you miss it. Well, we put it out, of course, on demand, part 1 and part 2 of the show there on YouTube as well. And then there's a special interview section that, is just the Lou part of it. There we put it out on social media. So make sure you follow us. Big fight card this weekend. But, Lou, we got to talk about last weekend. I'm sitting there following Twitter last week, and I had to go to a function and to a movie to support a friend of ours and stuff. So I wasn't able to watch the fight live, but I was following Twitter afterwards. And it looks like you had a good weekend there with the fight card.
Yeah, it's nice. I would say that when we got to middle of May, I was down about 13 or 14 units. And I didn't show it or voice it, although it might have come out. I wasn't very happy with that result. I don't think that's ever happened to me before, to dig such a hole so early, especially the way I go, just unit by unit. However, since then, it's gone totally the other way, and we're about a unit away from equilibrium here now. And the last few events have gone really good. This one was also good. It was good because we used the points a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to get their arms wrapped around it, but I think you got to kind of just trust me. With fights that go to decision, if you got a live dog that wins a round, but just he fights and loses a split decision or even unanimous 29-28, that's a total of 3 points. And if you're getting 3.5, you sit really well. Now, you give away some price, but it's a really, really salty way to go. We win 2 bets doing that.
Yeah, one of them, by the way, the Miranda Sousa fight, unanimous decision. Because that's what I think on points. I'm like, all right, it has to be a split decision, but you can win those points on unanimous decisions, like you just explained.
As long as each ref, as long as it's 29-28 on 3. If 2 guys got 29-28 and some bozos got 30-27. Now you have a 5 point, and you're only getting 3.5. You're a loser. So basically, well, then you're thinking, wow, you're counting on judging? Right, I am. I'm counting on it being all screwed up, and that's why you're going to get a lot of 29-28s, and I think that's why I'm eager to use the points when they benefit me.
And your other one on the points was the Pat and Asplund fight, I believe, correct?
That's right. Asplund, this big, huge giant. And
another unanimous decision, just
right,
for people
2
know.
polar bears slow dancing at the prom, man. All these 2 dudes did is just roll around. And that one was a fun one because with Pat, we were getting 5.5 points because they just thought Asplund was going to go out and knock him out. If you looked at Pat, 6'5", chiseled Brazilian, it was there to win. Nobody was knocking that dude out that day. And so that one goes to a decision that looks like 29-28. And afterwards, Asplund's like, who's making these lines? This is crazy, because he knew the guy was a bad hombre. So anyway, that's another one that we get. Now we lose one with Amanda Lemos. Yeah. And you know what? Thainara was mean. She was strong. She was young. She was fast. And Lemos gave me every effort I feel like I deserved from her. She let it all hang out. She just wasn't good enough that day against Thainara. I live with that unit loss, and we move right on to the next rodeo.
Those are kind of ones you can live with, right? When the dog is fighting hard.
If I get the girl to fight for me, she did. She was trying to win the fight from bell to bell. The other girl was just better. I miss them. Unfortunately, I'd love to tell you guys I'm 99%.
Wouldn't we all?
I'd need tomorrow's sports page to be 95%. So 99 is really hard.
I don't think I'd be sitting here if I was 99% on that. So the main card went, Sal Keeld. I saw a lot of talk after that fight of people saying, what a shocker. The UFC wants him to win. It was a setup fight for him. Almost like there was a lot of disappointment is kind of how I was reading it. First round submission for Sal Keeld in this fight. You talked about it last week, that obviously the UFC really likes him and things to that effect. You had him big in this fight as well with a couple bets there. First round submission. Does it change your mind about him at all, the way he did that fight? For his next fight?
I went back and forth on that fight all week long. Then I heard late information. Gamrot's camp was stunned they were an underdog, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, we had early on. And when I make a release to my people, I don't change up and now do something else. But I was nervous about this fight and Gamrot. I can tell you, there's no way I thought it would end other than decision. So clearly I didn't see a first round finish. So Salkild's skill and strength surprised me. That said, we were paid on two different parlays. We were paid on one parlay that we had into Salkild, which cashed. Now we also have Salkild into, I think it's Mackenzie Dern this week, in another parlay that we'll talk about when we get to this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Meta Apex fight, like I said, I watched it after the fact. I knew what kind of happened. And it didn't. That's one thing I'll give the UFC credit for. These Apex fights, they've stepped up the Apex fights this year, being on Paramount compared to past years.
Well, you're seeing way more crowd because they expanded the facility. And so there's I think they get 2,500 people in there now, which can make noise. Before they had 300-400 seats.
You could hear everything happening.
Yeah, so
that used to be my favorite thing when a corner would be like, hit him this way. It's like, well, that guy can hear you too.
My buddies tell me going to an Apex card is funner than heck.
Oh, I imagine so.
And Glendale's having a fight here
September 12th,
in a few weeks,
coming up. And they're adding to that card left and right. Yeah, they're adding to that card. And there's some names, there's some bangers on that fight. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
We'll update that as we go on. But I want to get into this week's, of course, UFC 330 here from Philadelphia coming up this weekend. 6 p.m. a main card coming up here as well. Early prelims start at 2:30 p.m. Here as well. Rafael Tobias looks, at least on my sheet here, is the last early prelim fight against a shadowy guy there, so I'm not sure if that's an add-on or something else. Any of these early prelim fights, anything to pay attention to here, Lou, for UFC 330?
Yeah, Fernando and Tobias is a due diligence fight, which means I watch and learn.
Light heavyweight.
Take notes.
Yeah.
And you have a decent favorite in Fernando.
290 right now.
Then you go to the other early prelim. This one's interesting. Oralbai from Kazakhstan ships in to fight a guy from Philly. The only Philly fighter on the card, and the fight card's in Philly, Jeremiah Wells. But Wells is 39, Oralbai 28, and a meat-grinding Russian vice grip. He's going to go out and just get all over Wells and try and dominate him with his wrestling. It'll be interesting how Wells reacts. If he can try and keep distance and strike with Oralbai, I think he has the power to hurt him. But this Oralbai is a clear favorite, and his number is ridiculous.
Minus 1,050 right now.
Okay.
Was he the one? He just beat oh my gosh, I had his name, Curtis. Wasn't that his last fight? Was Curtis?
I'm not sure.
There, and he fought him and everything.
He won his last fight.
He did win it.
That.
Yeah, he did.
Then the other early prelim is Bramaj, a tough Texan, against Neil Magny, 39-year-old. Bramaj will be 6 years the younger man, and that means something in this fight. But this is the only fight lined as close to a pick'em, and I think if Magny can manage to get this into the second or third round, he has a great chance. But Bramaj early is a submission guy, and Magny's been subbed, so that's interesting. I mean, if you had a gun to my head, I'd say take Bramaj via sub and Magny via decision, and each one of those is plus money. You might end up with a little bit of profit. That said, that's not a bet I would make. It's too closely lined.
Yeah,
they're old fighters. Magny can sometimes do it, and I'm not interested.
Over-under's 2.5 in that fight, minus 145 to the under, by the way, in that fight right now. So it's favoring this fight ending early. At least the numbers are telling us this fight's ending early as well on that. Now, Lou, I saw you post this a week ago, 2 weeks ago now. I saw you post it again here. Tracion Gore in this next fight here in the prelim fights on this one against Vicente Luque here coming up, Brazil, United States. Tell us about this fight.
Luque's moved up to 185 from 170. This fight opened with Luque as a as a favorite, he was minus 155.
Ooh.
Now Gore is a favorite at minus 120 to
122 right now on DraftKings.
Well, yeah. So, but you can get him at 128 at FanDuel. So, or at minus 128. So, the over under 2.5, over minus 60, competitive fight. But Luque moving up with the attrition he's taken, he's had some real clunkers. He's going to be the more experienced guy, the guy that's been in with way better. But Gore is a bulldog. He's not Stephen Hawking. So if he takes his direction from his corner and executes, his legs, his jiu-jitsu game, and his power and quickness should overwhelm Luque here. We took my email or my tweets were Gore minus 112. So we're ahead of the market as I expected. When it was 112, I missed him as an underdog, but I wasn't going to miss him anymore. And that's why I pop it out there immediately so people can choose to see that and do what they got to do. So we're with Gore, the younger guy. How much younger? Well, only 2 years. But again, Luque's combination of who he's been in with, the damage he's taken, stepping up in weight now for his second fight, and he looked great in his first 185-pound fight. I just think Gore and his corner are in a good spot here.
And we always tell people shop around, right? But you mentioned, I think you said over/under on this fight was 2.5 is what you had right now?
I have 1.5 over minus 170.
Okay, I misheard you. I thought you said 2 because it's over 1.5. Minus 175 to the over is what we're looking at there. I thought I heard a 2.5 in there.
I could have easily said that.
And so I was like, ooh, shop that
me.
around, because I was going to ask you, which one do you like more, 1.5 or 2.5?
Thanks for covering me. You can look. I can look at it and it says 1, and I say 2. So thank you.
I'm with you on that. Dante Johnson and Eric McConaughey, two United States fighters here.
Yeah, so like Gore, McConaughey comes from the MMA lab here in Phoenix, and I get to watch him. He is mentored, as is Gore, by Jared Cannonier, and they're getting a really good camp of larger-bodied men at the MMA lab now.
And these are middleweight fighters, too.
Yeah, these are 185-pounders. McConaughey's lost his last few and really needs a win. Here, we're going to get his best effort. And if he comes to be first and can walk into this young powder keg of dynamite, I think he stands a great chance. But the kid he's fighting is a beast, Dante Johnson. Little powder keg of TNT, baby. He's small, he's willing, he's fast, and he's going to go out there and try and take McConaughey's head off. So this can be a fight. It's going to be a fight you want to watch. McConaughey's 4 inches the larger man, but Dante Johnson is 9 years younger. That equates to roughly a 65-68% win rate if you just blindly take the younger man. So there's advantage in being young. They're both left-handers, which is very interesting because Dante Johnson's not as developed as McConaughey, and lefty on lefty means that there can be some left kicks right under the right elbow, and we'll see the longer man might have advantage there. So McConaughey opens a plus 280. Now he's only plus what? 190?
Yeah, plus 215 right now on DraftKings.
Plus 215, yeah. So he's gone down a little bit. Interesting fight. Definitely 1.5 over minus 175 there, Steve.
Minus 166 to the over right now.
Yeah, I think I like the over in this fight. I don't think Dante Johnson, if he does get McConaughey out, it's late. And if it goes to decision, McConaughey could fire well for himself. Thank you.
In case you need that, Lou.
Way to go.
I don't need you struggling out there as well, right, as we go into it. Yeah, then you got Charles Johnson, who I've seen fight several times here in a prelim fight here coming up. I know he lost his last fight. I do remember that. But he's fighting somebody named Eduardo Chapelin from Brazil. Charles Johnson is the favorite here in this catchweight bout. My biggest question here is I had to look it up. What's a catchweight bout?
Just kidding. The water worked. Thank you so much, Ethan. Catchweight means, hey, we got this. Listen, Charles Johnson, you lost your opponent. You can either choose to fight and help the UFC out because we need to save this spot on the production. We got a short notice kid coming in, can't make 135, but he'll do it at 140. Can you do? Yep, catch weight. We agree. That means they both have agreed, both camps and the UFC, to allow the fight to be competed at somewhere higher than what Johnson fights at, which is 125.
Okay.
So that it's probably a 135-pound fight, honestly, which is easier for both men to make weight. Chaplin comes in, he makes his weight because he's coming off the couch. Okay, he's trying to get in the UFC. Johnson's very uneven, and if you look at the pricing on this fight,
Well, Johnson Johnson right now is a 122 favorite.
Yeah, that's a short favorite. This whoever this kid is,
for an off the couch kind of guy, right?
Yeah, whoever this kid is, Chaupin, and in his picture in the UFC, he's smiling. He's like he's like wacky.
It looks like his high school. Looks like a high school photo or something. Is what it looks like, and it's faded off just a little bit and stuff. Things to that. But yeah, I agree. That's what I was going to ask you. Was this is obviously an add-on fight? An add-on fighter into this
short notice,
and that is a low number, I thought, for Johnson.
It is, but Johnson's uneven, and if you're willing and you stand there and you're going to come at him past 5 minutes, he can shell up. But if he can get out there and be long and start his 1-2 kick, then he can be confident. So I don't know enough about Chaplin to. Outside of what I'm reading in the lines, if anything, maybe I see this going to decision. What's the 2.5 over?
2.5 minus 195 to the over.
Yeah, that's an easy over. I maybe fight goes to decision and take a little off that 190.
Hey, exactly for that fight. Next up, we got a welterweight bout. Chidi Njoku. I knew it. Yeah,
Njokuani.
Thank you. I was just you were talking a second ago. I was like Njokuani, and then I look at it right before I say it, and blah 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 blah. Joel Alvarez is his opponent into this welterweight bout. Alvarez is a 325 favorite right now over Chidi in this fight.
Yeah, Alvarez comes in on short notice too. Chidi lost his original opponent here. Alvarez steps up. Chidi's like, holy shit. I got a worse opponent with this guy than I had in the first guy, which is the truth. Alvarez, it's interesting. I've always been critical of Alvarez because he started at 155 and he could hardly make weight. He would miss all the time because he's a bully and he didn't want to fight guys his own size. I chimed at him to move to 170 for a long time. He's been there for a couple fights and shown himself to be okay. He takes this on short notice. And in this fight, Njokuani, the natural 170er, oh, by the way, Njokuani used to fight at 85. When they got him disciplined enough to fight at 170, his career really started to take off. So Njokuani's an 85er fighting at 70. Alvarez is a guy who wanted to fight at 55 because he's got a little teeny tiny, eensy, skeensy huevos. And so I got a chip against Alvarez a little bit. I think he's kind of a bully. The issue with Njokuani is he don't like to be bullied. If Alvarez can stay there into the middle of the second round and show Chidi that he ain't going anywhere, this should be a really good fight that I think eventually Alvarez can win. But Chidi is very live in this fight because of his size. He's tasted the power of bigger men and the short notice nature of Alvarez.
The over under 1.5 on this fight to the over minus 140 to the over coming into this one as well. So you just kind of said what the numbers are showing as well. If you can get there to that middle of that round there, turn into an interesting fight as you go. And that's the ending of the prelims here, which gets us into the main event card here, 6 p.m. here from Philadelphia. Xfinity Mobile Arena here for this UFC 330. Edson Barboza and Esteban Ribovics. Argentina and Brazil fighters here.
Right. But Ribovics fights out of Killcliff in Florida. So it's not like he's got any real travel. And he fights killers there, and he's 10 years the younger man over a guy in Barboza that has gone between 45 now up to 55. Barboza is a GOAT and an OG Brazilian mixed martial artist. I can't respect the guy enough or give him as the accolades he deserves. He's fought everyone. He's had 15 year career in the UFC, longer than that in professional fighting. The guy is a pure professional fighter, but he's 40 and he's in against a kid that's 30, that's faster, younger, and even though Ribovic's going to be giving away some length, he's been in with a capable enough set of adversary that he's more than ready for this. This fight won't go the distance. I think Ribovic will finish this fight probably in the first round.
Well, interesting you say that. Over under 1.5 plus 100 to the under in this fight. Right now is the
money
number.
taking the under. I think that's a fair bet. That would be a good bet.
The other side of it is, what did Ribovic open at here in this fight, out of curiosity?
He opened at plus 240. Yeah, Barboza came the minus 300 favorite.
Okay,
now he's the plus 300.
I wasn't sure if I was seeing that right or not,
because
he's minus 650 right now on top of that. So big switch here in the money. What you're talking about?
I reported that on Bout Business because I got my.
Is that where I heard it from? Okay, because I was like, I have a note here
on Sneak Tea.
Yeah, Sneak Tea. I had that note, and I was like, did I write that down right?
Yeah, that's just a mistake, and you'll get that. Bet Online will make that, and then what they'll do is they'll get a couple of pretty sizable bets of me, and they'll say, "Whoa."
Yeah, we need to change this, or we're going to be out of business.
Sometimes that's me. I just am asleep at you never know when they're going to put these numbers out, for crying out loud.
Yeah, right. A different diet. Just
I'm
throw
looking,
them out
though.
there.
Believe me, I'm looking.
Abdul Malik against Dustin Stoltzfus.
Yeah,
middleweight fight.
Yeah, Stoltzfus is from Pennsylvania, and Abdul Malik from Maryland. So I say that because we're in Philly for these fights, and each guy's going to have some fans there for him. The unfortunate thing for Stoltzfus is that his fans are going to watch him get completely mowed down, and Abdul Malik's fans are going to have a great night, go out, drink margaritas, because he's going to just pulverize. Stoltzfus is only there for the encouragement and frenzy of the crowd into these next few fights.
Yeah, he is a big favorite. 675 favorite for Abdul Malik. Going to this over-under 1.5 minus 160 to the over. Going into this one right now as well.
Stoltzfus is tough and durable. Abdul Malik may not get him out of there before 1.5, but this fight is designed for Abdul Malik to look good.
Jalen Taylor against Fernandez here. Brazil, United States fighter, battling it out. Turner is the early favorite here, minus 155.
Jalen Turner and Kyle Fernandez. A good fight. Turner opened 260s, way less than that now. Kyle Fernandez never been knocked out. Turner uneven, retired, came back out of retirement, wears his head. They call him the tarantula. Should be called Daddy Longlegs because he's a really, really unusually long for his weight class. He's 6'3" for 155er. So Kyle Fernandez is going to have to get inside that reach, do his work. And Turner going to try and keep him on the outside and punish him on his way in. Should be a great fight. Maybe lean to Fernandez here, Nova União, Brazilian.
Yeah, plus 130 for Fernandez right now. Over under in this fight, 1.5. Minus 145 to the under, which is what you just touched on and you're about to say.
Fernandez never been finished.
Yeah,
so
and it's
this
under.
Fight ain't going under.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's going under.
Yeah, so that's what I was noticing there when you were talking. Like, interesting under number right there as well. Then you've got a lady fight here coming up. Mackenzie Dern, who's the champion coming into this. Gillian Robertson as well, battling this out. Canada, Brazil. Should be a good fight, even though Dern is a minus 220 favorite here. But tell us about this.
Yeah, Dern opened minus 250, and it's kind of gone a little back and forth.
218 right now, just as an update.
Yeah, Gillian Robertson from Canada, a very strong grappler, tough as nails, determined as all get out, has some striking, but she's primarily a grappler. She's won her last 5 in a row against good competition, solid competition, but she steps way up in class in this fight. And Dern, who she gets, is a gal that when she was 6 years old was in jiu-jitsu competitions in Brazil getting gold medals. Her lineage of Brazilian jiu-jitsu prowess is unquestioned. Her dad, Wellington Morrow, was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu savant, and she has carried that into the UFC where she couldn't strike or wrestle a lick. She's now since developed very good hands with Jason Perillo. She's a capable, competent champion, and everywhere this fight goes, she outclasses Robertson, who has not been in a 5-round fight before, nor has she experienced this kind of, elite level of competition. So Dern, I believe, is a value, even though this fight is going to be a 5-round pillow fight. It will go to decision, and I think it's going to be really, really difficult for Robertson to win, because what the UFC's design is for Dern to fight Weili Zhang. Zhang will move down from 125 to 15 to face Dern before the end of the year in a championship fight that to the UFC and Paramount signifies the most amount of interest on that fight. And I have to handicap that way now under this new Paramount UFC situation.
Yeah, over-under's 3.5 on this, minus 220 to the over for that perspective. There for Dern is
Dern could submit Robertson late. If Robertson thinks she can go to the ground with Dern, she'll get submitted, and if she stands up, she'll get sliced. So the slower death is stand up, because Dern isn't overly impressive with her stand up. Fortunate for her, she gets somebody that has very little stand up.
That's for the belt there, and then we get the championship belt as well. Islam Makhachev here against the Irishman out there, Ian Machado Gary, battling it out in the main card. Makhachev is a fairly decent favorite here. Let me get you the updated number as we're looking at it. Minus 340 for Makhachev here in this welterweight title bout.
Take back on Gary is what?
Plus 270.
270, okay. Listen, this is a very, very interesting fight. Makhachev trying to go down in history as the GOAT and untouchable and all. But Makhachev won and did most of his damage at 55. It was only recently that he went to 170 and won the belt. And when he did against a relatively undersized Jack Della Maddalena that he was physically similar to. Makhachev is stupid strong. He doesn't take a day off. He's totally dedicated. He's a Russian vice grip wrestler with fluidity of hands, able to evade incoming strikes, and a granite chin. He's arguably the best fighter living today, and I think outside of John Jones, because he is inactive, Makhachev is the man. However, in this draw and in this situation, this is as bad a situation as Makhachev could draw into. Why? Because he's fighting a 170er that walks around at 205. And as a matter of fact, once Gary weighs 170, he'll hit the cage at 198. That's how much weight and he's long, he's tall, he's fast, he's athletic. He's fought everyone at 170, bigger than him and smaller. Prates, Leon Edwards, and he got beat by Rachmanov in a very, very close fight. And Rachmanov's a 6'5" Russian killer. And so what I'm trying to get at is that the way for Gary to win this fight is to utilize his speed, athleticism, and have enough power in his punches and his kicks to keep Makhachev on the outside. He's going to have to be an absolute
Matador. Yeah.
He's going to have to be the Matador, because Makhachev's going to come after him. And after a round or two, if Makhachev can't get onto him or isn't strong enough to take him down, then Makhachev's going to get desperate. And then that's when it's going to open up for Gary. Now, we have already made parlay bets into Makhachev, where I have a Makhachev bet that looks like 2 units on Makhachev to win like 2.4 units. That's a bet that's made, and that's over here. Yesterday I released Ian Gary plus 9.5 points, minus 120. It was released on Twitter.
And that's what it is on DraftKings right
and
now.
I used 2-unit bet on that. I can tell you personally, that'll be a much more substantial bet for me. This is one of the best bets I think I've seen in many, many years in UFC. This 9.5 is mispriced. I believe it goes to decision. I believe it's a competitive decision. And I think that Gary could win this fight. The way he can win it is just as I explained. Now, does Makhachev eventually tackle him, get him against the fence, take him down and rub him all over the mat? That's what his plan is. I don't believe that's going to happen. I just don't. And so then do you take a couple of pennies and put it on Gary? If you don't have the Makhachev bet that I've released to my clients, you do, because that's how I feel about the fight now. Obviously, we hold that Makhachev, so I'm going to try and win them both. I'm going to try and get Makhachev to win a real tight decision, and then Daddy gets Makhachev and the points.
You do that beautifully when you split those types of things up over time. Over under on the rounds here. 4.5 minus 175 to the over as well.
It's a decision.
So people
they're
are
telling you
saying
it's going to decision, yet they're going to give you 9.5 points. That means that Makhachev's going to have to win 5-0 on all three cards, or on one guy's card with the other two 4-1. I believe Gary. Again, he's going to be the biggest, most real 170er that Makhachev has faced to date. And let's not forget, at 155, when Volkanovski in 2023 moved up, that fight went to decision. That was a really, really tough competitive fight. Now, Volkanovski's sawed-off little tough Aussie wrestler, but that ain't Ian Gary, a 6'3", long, athletic Irishman with plenty of lip. I don't like Gary, and I don't like Paddy Pimblett, but we bet Paddy Pimblett a few weeks ago worked well, and we're going to bet this Gary with those points this week.
Yeah, 9.5 points.
And no one's getting this. If he didn't see it on Twitter last night, TME listeners are getting this now because I'm going to release it at 2:00 today on VSiN. So
yeah, and that's where you'll start to see. We don't move markets yet here on this show. We're working towards doing that.
I don't know that I move markets. We're not interested.
No, but
in
I'm talking about
markets.
Visa. I'm talking about Visa.
I'm just interested in getting that 9.5 before that goes away.
And it's right there right now. That's why I told you guys, because you released it yesterday, and a lot of times you release something, and even if you check it, I'm not saying it's necessarily you doing it, but when you release something and a number, literally like 2 hours later, I'll go in and double check it, and it's already moved off of it. It's still at that plus 9.5, minus 120 right now out there. That's why I made that to you, because when Lou gets, I'm just telling you, when Lou gets on that Visa later, people are going to start jumping on that number. Well, I'll track it, Lou. I'll prove it to you. It happens.
If they do, whoop-de-doo, as Archie Bunker used to say.
But no, I just tell people, get on it if you're interested.
$1.50 will get you a cup of coffee.
Tell all your people out there, your friends at the water cooler today, you like that number and looks smart here as that number moves around later on and everything. Lou comes in on Thursdays, folks. Louie, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Of course, next week, more NFL talk, more preseason games under our belts. Of course, UFC next week as well, as we are getting closer to that Phoenix card coming up here. Obviously, we record here in Phoenix, so we're paying attention to that one on September 12th. I think I said last week, Rodriguez and Gene Silva battling it out on that main card as well for the main one coming up. Then you still got the Cortez Acosta, Blades battling it out. Dan Ige is going against David Martinez coming up. So Tommy McMillan and Rahiki. It'll be fun when that comes rolling into town.
Great fight,
we'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great night.